Okay, what do you say we finish up our exploits here on solving systems of inequalities by graphing with a word problem? And this corresponds to page 147 in your textbook. And it is example 3, write and use a system of inequalities. So let's tackle this word problem. Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez are driving across the country with their 2 children. They plan on driving a maximum of 10 hours per day. Mr. Rodriguez plans on driving 4 hours per day, but not more than 8 hours a day. Mrs. Rodriguez can drive between 2 and 5 hours per day. Write and graph a system of inequalities that represents this information. Well, the first thing we need to do is establish some variables. So let's see here. We're going to say that y equals Mr. Rodriguez and x equals Mrs. Rodriguez. Now, let's put together our inequality statements. All right, they plan on driving, both of them, plan on driving a maximum of 10 hours per day. So that would be x plus y maximum, so that would be less than or equal to 10. And I really need to get that in slope-intercept form, so I got y is less than or equal to negative x plus 10. Okay, so far so good. Now, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Y, plans on driving 4 hours per day, but not more than 8 hours per day. So he plans on, let's see, Y, well, let's put it like this. 4 is less than or equal to Y, and that also less than or equal to 8. So he plans on driving between 4 and 8 hours a day, while Mrs. Rodriguez plans on driving between 2 and 5 hours a day. 2 less than or equal to x, and less than or equal to 5. So we're going to try to find the system of equalities that's going to give us the bounded region, if you will, the intersection of how many hours they might both drive, 1 or more per day. It looks like fun. It is kind of fun in a way. We'll be doing a lot of different weird stuff. Okay, let's go to the calculator. Okay, so we got all these unusual inequalities, and even we're going to have some horizontal lines, because if you remember, Mrs. Rodriguez, that we defined as x, can drive between 2 and 5 hours a day. So then x could be greater than or equal to 2, and x could be less than or equal to 5. We're going to deal with her first. So, but how do I graph an x? Well, easy. I'm going to go over here to apps. I'm going to choose option 6, and I'm going to click any key, and then it's going to take me to the y equal button. Now I'm going to hit the cursor up here, and I'm going to go to where it's got x equals blinking, and I'm going to hit enter. All right, so this is going to allow me to graph vertical lines, or just when x is equal to something, not just y. And I see it, but I want to do this. I want to change the colors, and I'm going to put in my inequality symbols too. And I'm going to change this to some kind of weird stuff, so it doesn't, yellow, that looks okay. Okay, so my first one was x is greater than or equal to 4, because she's going to drive, no, 2. X is greater than or equal to 2, because she's going to drive between 2 and 5 hours a day. Okay, greater, so I need a greater than. X is a greater than or equal to. All right, boom, boom. And I'm just going to say 2. And then and she is going to drive less than or equal to 5. So again, I'm going to move the cursor over here, and I'm going to pick another unusual little bit of color, I think, because I want this to show it's going. We're going to end up with a lot of graphing going on. And let's see, I'm going to go with light gray. And let's see, this is x is going to be less than or equal to 5. Okay. Now, I've already gone in and changed my window settings, I believe, because time can't be negative. So I set my x minimum at 0 and went out to 10. And I set my y minimum to 0 up to 10 because time can't be negative. So I don't need any negative numbers in this. Let's see what the graph looks like so far. Okay. So this area here, this area right in here where I got both the yellow and gray is representing Mrs. Rodriguez with her driving between 2 and 5 hours a day. Now let's go over here. We're going to do the y equals. And let's see. The first one that we had was that they both were going to drive less than or equal to 10 hours a day. And we wrote that as y equals negative x plus 10, not y equals, but y is less than or equal to negative x plus 10. But I want to change that equal to a less than or equal to. Okay, that looks good. And it was negative x plus 10. All right, and then we had two horizontal lines we were going to draw because we had y was greater than, or Mr. Rodriguez is going to drive at least 4, but no more than 8. So y is going to be greater than or equal to 4 or less than or equal to 8. And so let's do that part of this first. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to leave this color the same, but I want to change this to a greater than or equal to. We're going to have y is greater than or equal to 4. Okay, that looks pretty good. Enter, enter. Go over here and put in 4. And to finish this off, we're going to have y is less than or equal to 8. Let's hit the enter button. And we'll stick with green. And we're going to change this to less than or equal to 8. Okay. I think we got it. Let's see what kind of graph we got here. There goes y equals negative x plus 10. There's our two horizontal lines. Boom, there comes in our rest of it. Now, it's hard to see, but this little section right here's my yellow line, up to that red line, to the blue line. Of course, we got the green and the gray, and right there we got the gray line coming like that. All these different weird colors, weird to show up, but there is our solution set to all those systems of equations with Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez driving across the country with their 2 children. Shazam. Well, okay, just in case you couldn't have seen that too well, I took a screenshot of it, which is something that you can do, and posted it into this particular slide. And this little area that you see right here that I drew in, filled it in, that was actually the solution set, the intersecting region of all of those systems of equations we did with vertical lines and horizontal lines and just a regular linear inequality. Okay, That's it. What a blast.